Good day, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and here on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back. And now let's see what's happening. It looks like we have some real news this week.
I know. More game news. It's like the world is coming to an end.
Yes. Update 32 is on Lamania again against the Slave Lords.
Yes, besides crafting, the crafting update, there was some tweaks and changes to that, but this is the first time we did get a good look at the new dungeons for the Against the Slave Lords quest that are coming in Update 32. I did jump in and I did the first one, and I won't spoil anything. I won't say anything about it. I was going to make a video, but I didn't record a video then.
So what level is it?
It starts at level 8.
Level 8.
On Heroic.
All right.
And then there is Legendary at 32 as well. It's level 8 Heroic. I really liked the first one. I enjoyed what they did. I think they stayed as true to the original as they could because, there's some variances they have to make for the difference between, DDO is a video game and it's not, pure just tabletop D&D. So they have to take some liberties and change some things. And overall, I think they did a good job. That's all I'll say because I want to keep it spoiler-free.
So as good a job as they did on the temple?
Think so far.
Okay.
I guess I will reserve judgment until I run them all, but
yes,
I'm pretty impressed with what they did, though.
All right. I see that you wanted to make sure that everybody knew how to copy their characters over onto Lamania.
Yes, and the reason why I did this is because I noticed on the forums there was some people that were a little confused on how this worked. They couldn't figure out where to find it, how to do it, what to do, so I thought, good opportunity to make a video, right? So that's what I just made a quick little video that shows the process of character copy on Lamania. Really easy. Basically, to sum it up, you log into Lamania. Once you're logged in totally, you'll see where you normally hit play to play the game. Underneath that, there'll be a button that says copy. You click on that, follow the directions, pick what character from what world you want to move to. It'll say you want to move X character to Lamania for free. You tell it yes, it copies over, and you're good to go. But you can watch the video and see it in action.
And I've also heard a rumor that they've announced, unlike the Temple of Elemental Evil, they have actually announced who the DM will be for Against the Slave Lords.
Yes, and this is what I like to call the post that almost broke DDO players.
What?
Also known as the Critical Role effect. Travis Willingham is going to be your dungeon master for Update 32 Against the Slave Lords. And some of you might be asking, who? If you watch the Marvel animated movies, he is the voice of Thor. A lot of people will know him from that. Most people in the D&D circles are going to know him as Grog from Critical Role. He is an amazing voice actor. He's got tons of credits to his name, actually. Not just the Marvel animated movies. He's also done some work in the Batman video games. He's been in some cartoons, some other movies. I'll link his IMDb page. He's got 277 credits to his name for his voice work. As I said, most people know him from Critical Role, which is a Geek and Sundry Dungeons & Dragons show where they play D&D every Thursday night for about 3 hours. I am super, super excited about this for two reasons. Number one, the dude's got so much talent. He is amazing in the range of his voices, so I can only imagine what he's going to do with the DM voices. I can guarantee you're going to hear all sorts of voices, and you're going to forget, that's coming out of one dude. That's all him making those different voices. And the other reason why I'm excited about this is I'm hoping that we might maybe get a little cross-promotion going. Critical Role will talk about this. Geek and Sundry might talk about it. D&D will kind of get some advertising and maybe some new players, possibly. And the reason why I said this is a post that almost broke DDO players, I put this post up. I posted it over on Reddit in the Critical Role subreddit because I figured, hey, the people that watch Critical Roles are called critters. So I'm like, these guys will probably want to know that he's, going to be in DDO. And oh my God, We've got so much traffic since I put this post up on Friday. And that first day, traffic was like insane. Saturday and Sunday traffic was insane. And today, traffic is still insane on this post. This is by far our most popular post ever in our history as a site. So it's just insane how much Critical Role people love their Critical Role people and want to know what they're doing. So thanks to all you critters for all the visits you have done to DDO players in the past 3 days.
All right. I'm looking at this list of... All right, he's done some stuff in ESO, though I don't know what voices. I don't know if I've run into him on there.
He's also been in Star Trek, StarCraft as well.
Yeah, okay. I saw it said StarCraft too. I didn't see StarCraft. And I really didn't play much StarCraft, so it's possible I never ran into his voice there in any case. So, but it is a pretty long list.
Yeah, you can see just looking at that list, and just think everything on that list is a different character, so it has to have a different voice. So you can just imagine all the different voices he can do. It's pretty exciting. I think actually. I think he's going to do a great job. And unfortunately, this was announced after Lamania was up, so the build that's on Lamania had just like generic DM. Well, not generic. It was the DM voice that is usually in game. So his work actually wasn't in game yet.
Oh, you mean they had a voiceover? It was just
yes.
Unlike, because I know in Temple they said, well, we do not have the voiceovers yet.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of surprised that they actually announced this then, because I was like, wow, there was a voice actually. So I'm trying to think some of the other quests the guy has DM'd for. I knew the voice. He does a lot of the DM work. And I just figured, oh, he's going to be the DM. It's cool. I like his voice. And then they announced Travis, and I'm like, oh my God, my head just exploded. Then the site almost exploded with it. So.
All right. I think my browser is going to explode by the number of items that are in here. All right, let's head on then, and let's see DDO Chronicle issue 202. And this place looks green.
Very green. I was actually trying to figure out where that header came from, and I can't place that. I'm sure there's people like yelling at their speakers right now. It's like, you dummy, it's X Quest. But yeah, I couldn't place it. So
all right.
I'm sure we'll hear where it's at. In the community spotlight of our Chronicle this week, DDO Cast had another edition of the ever popular Ask the Devs. They interviewed executive producer Sev, No Worries, Steel Star, and of course community manager Cordovan. You can click over and listen to that. Great interview, great job, Patrick, on that. And they were very chatty, so they talked about a lot of things. So definitely worth a watch or a listen. And also, over on the DDO stream, there's a brand new show, 10 o'clock Eastern on Friday nights. Brand new show is called Fridays on Ice. So click over and check out the newest member of the DDO stream team. Then in the fansite news section of our Chronicle, the Damsels of DDO were in Amaroth running Sins of Attrition. We got a shout out for our last episode. Voodoo Spice did a wonderful preview video for the Canneth Crafting on Lamania. I highly recommend everybody watch this video. Voodoo did a great job with this. Also, Jeff over at DDO Gamer, he as well is taking a look at Canneth Crafting, so get your crafting fix either from Voodoo or Jeff or both. And then Eben is preparing to reincarnate and updated the look of her blog. So click over and look at the new look for Eben Notes blog. We have a Chronicle comment this week, as always.
All right.
And that would be, how do you come up with your character name? Or names, I should say.
Well, usually I try finding something appropriate for the class and finding a way to work it in with Pine. Though with my current round I'm doing, where I'm doing every race as a warlock at level 7 to try the temple, I've been trying to see something. Well, first I've been doing warlock type stuff, but now I'm falling down to the class itself. So I think currently I have, because I'm playing the Warforged, so I'm thinking Pineforged, I believe is what I call the character there. So yes, usually it has the word pine in it somewhere.
Makes sense, I suppose. And as for myself, it's going to come a shock to nobody that my character names usually revolve around vampires somehow.
Wow.
I know, everybody's like, what? I will use, like, maybe an obscure character from a book or a movie or TV show. Maybe some kind of vampiric term. Something to do with vampires somehow are all of my characters. Other than my new gnomes, those I'm just, like, putting gnome on the end of it. So I have, like, Dracu-gnome and, like, Vampy gnome. So I guess it still kind of ties into the vampire, but I have the gnome thing in there. And of course I have Gnomegeddon, which I still cannot believe I was able to get. You people are all slackers that nobody created Gnomegeddon before I did. Not that I'm complaining, because I actually got it, but, you know.
Oh, that's right, because I took Pinegeddon.
Yes, you did. See, I figured you were going to take Gnomegeddon, but no, you didn't. I got it. I got it on all servers, so you can't have it. Just saying.
You got it on all, because I was going to ask you which server you got it on. He said,
all of them.
All of them. Good grief.
That was the first thing I did when Gnome came out. It's like, oh, we're making gnomes on every server. Am I going to play them? Probably not, but at least I'll have Gnomegeddon on every server. So there you go. And that is pretty much it. Other than the official screenshot of the week is Vidica, we'll say Vidica, how's that? Battles in the Red Fens, and that is the 282nd official DDO screenshot of the week.
Looks like Vidica is a artificer.
Oh, did the big rune arm or the crossbow give it away?
I think the combination of them.
Okay, you do speak logic there, I suppose.
I mean, it's possible. Okay, the rune arm says has to be at least, I think, 2 levels of artificer in order to get the rune arm. But of course, having a main weapon as a crossbow, yeah, it probably means pretty good, fair percentage artificer. So let's then head into our store sales. Anything interesting on sale this week?
We've got 25% off stat tomes, skill and UMD tomes, tomes of learning, and the ever-popular Harper Agent Enhancement Tree, all at 25% off in the store. Free sample of the week through the 25th is the Gold Seal Elixir of Lesser Healing. 10 of those with the coupon code HEALS for me, 1 per account. And just a note that the 4 is the number 4 and not spelled out. So it's heals for me. I'm so happy the vanity codes are back.
A lot easier to pronounce, that's for sure.
Indeed.
Let's head into the site news, and we'll begin with Firelock Games. Mike Tunes, who's lead designer for Blood and Plunder, and you had a little interview with him, right?
I did, and of course this is the pirate game that we have been talking about for a long time, ever since even before the Kickstarter went. It's the pirate miniatures game. We talked all about how it works, how ship-to-ship combat works, ship-to-land, all that stuff, and how they are doing a 100% historically accurate pirate game as well. So
100%?
Yes, they actually have a historian working with them to make sure they are 100% historical in everything that they do for the game.
All right, so therefore I'm not going to see all square sales like I see in so many pirate things.
I would say probably not. I could email them and ask them about their sales, but I bet you they are not going to be all square.
Okay.
Because I'm sure they're historian, and we talked about the historian in the interview as well. So click over and give that a listen. It was a pretty good interview, and we want to thank them for taking a little time out of their busy schedule. Because another thing about Firelock Games is the miniatures for the game, they are actually making, designing, and producing in-house. They're doing it all themselves, which is just craziness to think about. So they were super busy because they're trying to get the Kickstarter games out by November. So thank you very much for taking some time out for the interview. So click over and give it a listen or a watch.
And I presume that the Kickstarter is long ago over.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's been over since early summer. I think it ended, I want to say June, maybe? Something like that.
All right, then let's then head into some more interviews, and we'll begin with a buffalo. I think one that even flies?
It could be. It was Mr. Rick Loomis, who, of course, the funny way Pine Leaf thought to segue into this is Rick Loomis is the founder of Flying Buffalo Incorporated Games. So henceforth the Flying Buffalo. Yep, we talked about the history of the companies, some of the games they have done, how he got hooked up with Ken St. Andre for Tunnels and Trolls, and then what we can look forward to coming from Flying Buffalo. And check that out. Once again, that was at Gen Con. These are our final 3 videos from Gen Con. And then we can put Gen Con 2016 in the books.
Whee! And we also had an interview with the troll.
Yes, the Troll Lord himself, Ken St. Andre, who, as I said, is the curator of Tunnels and Trolls. This was a wonderful interview. He is so funny. And it was just a great interview. He was very manic and he was very all over the place. He would actually answer my questions, but then he would go off on some tangent about something else and then bring it back to my question and then go back on a tangent again. So yeah, he is a great guy. I probably spent, to do these interviews, and before I was doing the interviews, I bet I spent probably almost an hour and 45 minutes in their booth talking to all these guys. So it was just a great time. And that's, of course, is in the flood of Gen Con right in the hall with all the people coming to try out the digital adaptation of Tunnels and Trolls. So it was a little crazy. And you might see in the video, and especially in the Ken St. Andre video, there's a couple times where we pause and he reaches behind him, or I'll reach and I'll hand something. They were giving away if you did the demo of the digital Tunnels and Trolls, which we'll talk about in a minute, they were giving away a new solo adventure for the new version, the deluxe new version of Tunnels and Trolls, or you can use it in the old version as well. They were giving those away, and he was having to stop to sign copies of those or do something. So yeah, it was just kind of funny. So it's not as long as what you think the interview is. It's just we kind of had to stop and pause, and it was just great. So, but thank you for taking your time out, Ken, because I know your booth was super busy, but he was a super nice guy.
All right. And then your third one was with David Reed from Meta Arcade. And what was he up to?
He is the one that is actually doing the Tunnels and Trolls, the new digital adaptation. That is a hard word to say. And we talked about the Meta Arcade platform, how it works, how he's hoping it's going to be, and he kind of described it as the WordPress for the digital market. So what you do is you can get this, and it's like a full tool set you can use, and anybody should be able, if you have an idea for a story-based game, you should be able to get the Meta Arcade platform and use some assets and stuff that they give you, and within a few hours, spend some time with it, you should be able to craft a game, make a game, release it, and earn money off that game. That's their hope with Meta Arcade. Their test bed is going to be the deluxe the digital Tunnels and Trolls, which they're doing. The first module is Naked Doom is the one. And I did get a chance to play with the early beta copy. It was really fun. It sticks to the heart of Tunnels and Trolls. It reminded me of playing paper Tunnels and Trolls. And yes, I died a lot.
Oh, what a shock.
So check that out when it comes out. He should have a public beta for it. They are hoping later in the year. So we will keep you abreast of that. But once again, thanks to David Reed for taking some time out as well. Because like I said, their booth was crazy packed. So we were having to do this all within the booth, and it was just a crazy time. But that's just how Gen Con is.
Yes. And after all this talk about Tunnels and Trolls, it is now time to head into the dungeon itself and see what's coming out of the dungeon. And what's the extra life? Storm King's Thunder 24-hour live stream. What, they're going to play Storm King's Thunder for 24 hours?
Why, as a matter of fact, yes, they are. Just like they did last year, they are participating in the Extra Life, which, if you're not familiar with that is when people raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And what you do is you give donations, and people basically play games. You can play tabletop games, you can play MMOs, you could play solo games, you can do whatever you want. You just have to play for 24 hours. And of course, WotC every year plays Dungeons & Dragons. This year, they are going to do it on September the 16th, starting at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which that is a Friday. And I did put the schedule up on the site. They are going to be running through the newest storyline, Storm King's Thunder. And of course that uses the new 5th edition D&D rule set. Surprise, surprise. And the game should end right around 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday, September 17th.
Now, is everybody going to be staying up through all that time, or are they going to be running things in shifts?
They are running in shifts.
Okay.
The first game is Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and then 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., and so on and so forth. And each game will have different players and different dungeon masters. You can find all this over on WotC's Twitch page, which I have conveniently linked in the article. And of course, just like last year, if you donate, they are giving a little incentives for you to donate, and that is in the form of some previews of the Storm King's Thunder book itself.
Ooh.
So there looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right now, previews that we could unlock if we donate enough money.
If I remember correctly, last year we unlocked quite a number of them.
All of them, actually. So we'll see if that happens again this year.
All right. And then let's head into the Storm King's Thunder Extra Life Preview, Appendix A, The Linked Adventures.
Speaking of those unlocked previews, hey, we've got one of them, actually 2 of them unlocked. And
already?
Yep, already. Yeah, it was pretty much almost as soon as they put that up and they said they were going to unlock these, it was like 1 gone, 2 gone. And that would be up to the $10,000 mark. This one was the Linked Adventures was the 10,000. I actually put these backwards in the show notes. I guess it doesn't matter, but the first one was at $5,000 and the second one was at $10,000. And the Linked Adventures was the second one for the $10,000 goal. And that basically just tells you how you can link the new Storm King's Thunder adventure into the older adventures, like the Lost Mines of Phandelver, Hoard of the Dragon Queen, so on and so forth. So if you kind of want to tie it all together, this is how you do it.
And we also have the D100 table for items in a giant's bag. So I suspect that this is going to sometimes be a little tongue-in-cheek.
And if you read it, it is, because you can find maybe a moldy and stinky wheel of cheese.
Okay.
Or a mangy fur pelt. That's another good one. But I think the best one, and of course now that I want to talk about it, I can't find it in here. Yeah, there is a live animal. Could be a chicken, a goat, a pig, or a sheep. I mean, because why wouldn't a giant just carry around a sheep? Or, I think my favorite is if you roll 77 to 78 on a D100, you're going to find a coffin or a small casket. Just kind of hanging out in his back, because why not?
Why not?
So, this, of course, is something you can add when you're running through Storm King's Thunder, and say somebody kills a giant or finds a giant's bag, and you want to roll some loot up that they find in there. This is the chart that you can use.
Well, and now we have Cloud Giants Bargain Adventure for PAX West Acquisitions Incorporated event.
Yes, remember the last, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we talked about that the PAX West Acquisitions Incorporated game was going to be live streamed in select theaters. And
yes. You
could actually buy a ticket and go watch the PAX West. And if you did that, you would get a adventure that you would get for, going to the theater. Well, we now know what that adventure is called and a little bit more about it. It is called the Cloud Giants Bargain. And they sum it up by saying the renowned adventuring company Acquisitions Incorporated hires you to infiltrate a castle, but not just any castle. This is a flying fortress built by the cloud giant Count Stradavan, who is currently preparing to destroy the Sword Coast. Your mission is met with his son, who claims to want to prevent the war and establish peace between the giants and the small folk. If you can learn whether the son can be trusted, discover the secrets of the castle, and, well, survive, you too can earn a claim with Acquisitions Incorporated. So if you're lucky enough to have a theater within your area that is participating in this event, you can buy a ticket to this, and once you show up, you will actually get this printed adventure. And I did reach out to WotC to find out if maybe this would be available at a later time, like maybe on the DM's Guild or something like that in PDF form. And I finally got a answer back actually this evening about 6 o'clock. I got an email from my PR person at Wizards, and she did say that no, this will not be available any other time. So the only way to get this is if you go to a theater showing of the PAX West event.
All right. Well, it does look like my local theater is going to be having it.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that I actually have 2 theaters that are too far away from me that is actually doing it.
Oh, they're both too far away from you.
Yeah, no, they're not too far away.
Oh, not too far away.
Yeah,
Okay.
I figured I would, if I would like go to this, which I'm kind of thinking about maybe going to it. I thought, oh man, I'm gonna have to drive like who knows where. But no, I actually have a theater within like 30 minutes from me that is doing it, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, for me, the 30 minutes is 30-minute walk. So, but I'm looking at this, and what's surprising me is there are all these other areas to the south of me where I thought would be more likely would be having one. And no, it's not there. It's at our local theater. It's not at the only other one I can see it. The next nearest one I can see that's in my state is in Baltimore,
So it's the complete opposite of what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, I was a bit surprised. Yeah, it's the westernmost one in my state. All right. So therefore, if I remember and have time and what.
And this is a 4-hour adventure that's designed for 5th through 7th level characters. Yeah. And it is Adventure League legal if you're interested in that. So you can run it at home and you can count your experience and everything that you earn for the Adventure League if you're playing in Adventure League games.
Well, then let's head to Force Grey, Giant Hunters, Episode 6, Battling Displacer Beasts and Rogue Fails.
Oh, they met their first Displacer Beast, and it took a while to figure out what the heck it was. But once they did, hilariousness ensues, and I have to give a big, giant, very huge, the loudest, biggest parental advisory, explicit content warning I can give, because yeah, there's some funny stuff that happens, but if you're, like I always say, if you can't handle adult language or adult humor, you're not gonna like this episode, but oh, it's so hilarious what they do to this Displacer Beast.
Well, I was getting the impression that that's true for the entire series.
Well, yeah, but this was more. This was like big time, but they make the Displacer Beast do something that is just hilarious. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like taking notes because I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna have to like try this in my game. So yeah. So unfortunately, this is episode 6, so that means we only have 2 more episodes left, which is very sad.
All right. Then let's see what's on the tabletop, and we'll begin with a game from Keeps Exploring Games. It's about scuba diving, apparently.
It is. You put on your diving gear, jump off the boat, and just have fun. What you're trying to do is you're trying to dive down and get as many types of fish as possible, but you have to remember not to run out of air, though.
Yeah, I think that's usually important when you're scuba diving.
Yeah, because running out of air underwater is bad.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this is a light family game. They say designed for 2 to 5, they say divers, that will play in a time of 30 to 60 minutes. It has a very big pressure luck element to it, because you can decide how long you want to stay underwater. Like if you want to try to get more fish, you can do that, but you have to keep an eye on your air, so you're pressing your luck. Do I go deeper? Do I try to get more fish?
Oh, if you go too deep, do you risk getting the bends?
I don't know. That would be funny if you did. So we'll have to see. This is coming out later this fall, and as you said, it's from Keep Exploring Games.
All right, that's an interesting one. Now let's go to the Mage Company, who announces Karakia.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds like a nice rabbity game.
It is. We did kind of talk about this last week when we talked about the Mage Company interview that I did at Gen Con with Alex, the founder and general manager. They had limited number of these at Gen Con. They are actually going to announce a Kickstarter to get this mass produced. What it is, it's a light cooperative game that is a tile placement game for 1 to 6 players, and you are collectively working together against a timer to build 3 different mazes of increasing sizes. And you're doing this because the Master Rabbit needs to dash from the entrance to the exit within that specific number of moves according to the current mission card, scooping up as many precious carrots as he can while avoiding the owls, hawks, and other birds that are swooping low to try to stop him. So it's a game about bunnies in a maze getting carrots.
Hoping not to become food for some sort of predator.
That's right. And of course, with the Kickstarter will be stretch goals. And they're doing something a little different with their Kickstarter for this. Each stretch goal is going to create a new expansion for the game. So that is pretty novel the way they're doing it.
All right.
And right now they're saying that there are going to be 25 mazes and labyrinth tiles that are going to be available. As the stretch goals knock down off the Kickstarter, that number is going to go up. So it could, in theory, if they get enough stretch goals, you could have 100 different tile combinations that you could do to make some crazy mazes for your little rabbit to run through to try to get those carrots. And this Kickstarter is going to be going up on August 25th, and it's going to run for 2 weeks only. So it is a pretty fast Kickstarter.
All right. Hopefully we'll get a reminder of that when it's up. So that
we will.
Don't forget it. Okay.
I will definitely post on it when the Kickstarter is live.
Because it looks like an interesting one.
Yeah, it does.
It involves mazes, 1 to 6 players, co-op style. Sounds down my alley.
Exactly. I saw that. I'm like, oh, 1 player. Oh, you're all over this.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Pine Leaf is buying into this. I can see it now.
All right. Let's go to our weekend gaming. What were you up to?
I was up to a lot, actually.
Ooh.
Start off with my Shader Kai, who is still at level 19. I'm just kind of like hanging out at 19. I'm in no rush to level that Shader Kai.
Okay.
But I remembered, it's like, hey, I have a ranger now. I have a new ranger that I do with the static group with Myth, Saba, and Rent. So, you know what that means since I have a new ranger.
Something about quivers, I think.
Yeah, I need another one of those quivers. So, I'm back in the Devil's Gambit, Grim and Barrett, trying to get that dumb quiver. As I call it, the quest for the quiver that never drops. So we'll see how long it takes me this time. I think I've ran it probably 10 times so far and still no quiver, so we'll see. I think I forgot how many times it took me last time. It was like some stupid number. I don't even remember what it was. But at this point, I can do Grim and Barrett in my sleep, though. I know that quest. Like, I can just run through it. I just, like, zerg through that quest. Just give me my stupid quiver and let me get out of this place. And the stupid RNG doesn't cooperate. But we'll see. Nah.
Someday.
I have a level 7 druid that I am going to turn into a wolflock at some point. I'm actually waiting until I get enough druid levels to where I can get winter wolf. And then I'm going to work on the warlock part. So right now I'm just a pure druid. I ran some harbor quests, mainly for favor, because I was over leveled, of course. But I did all of the man named Bonjuri Cartman quests. I did all those on Elite. Then I did Cobalt's new ringleader on Elite and Bringing the Light on Elite. And then I hopped into the marketplace and started on the Sharn Syndicate quest, also running that on Elite. Right now, all I've done is Stand Your Ground, so I will finish that up probably this week. And hopefully that should get me close to level 9 that I need to get the Winter Wolf, so we'll see. But if not, I'll probably run like Sharn Syndicate or not Sharn, Sela Shantakor. And I'm thinking that should give me enough to where I can start working on the Warlock level. Then that aforementioned ranger I talked about, who is level 9, is in that group with Miss Saba and Rend. We were in House Denise, and I was on the damsels this week, which we'll talk about here in a second, and I casually mentioned that I had never ran the pit. And Saba Jade about had a heart attack that I had never ran the pit. So they made me run the pit. And I am going to state for the record, this is out in the ether now, it is recorded, for all of history's sake, I will never, ever, ever, ever run this stupid quest again. Oh my God. I would rather be forced to run the Crucible over and over and over.
Ouch!
Other than do this pit. Oh my God. No, I am never doing this quest again. luckily Saba and Rent know it. They're the masters of the pit. So it was easier than it would have been if just I would have done it by myself or you and I would have done it. But this quest just sucks. From what Rent said, it's pretty much the most hated or loved quest in DDO. You either really hate it or you really love it.
I have a good guess as to which category I would fit into.
And Ninth Pawn in the chat room probably has it right. He says, until they push you into doing it again. That's probably what will happen, but things happen when you play with the damsels. They make you do things. We'll talk about that in a moment too. And then we did Storm Cleave Outpost then just to wash the taint of the pit off me. That quest sucks. I hate that quest so bad. Ugh. And then I have my rogue on Cannith that I play with you. We'll let you talk about what we did. And then the other thing I did, I said I was with the damsels. That is with my Wolflock, who was still at level 20. And I did link in the show notes the video to this, so you can actually watch this, because Lessa was twitching this on the DDO stream. We were in Amarath, and we did the Genesis Point and the Bastion of Power. And everybody that knows the game, knows the Bastion of Power, has the Merilith at the end that you have to fight. She is really mean and has a lot of swords, and she really hurts when she hits you with her feet.
I guess she's the one that you see on so many screenshots?
Yes, yep, that's her. And the damsels are calling this the hazing of drag. Because they have this wonderful plan that they're going to do. They're going to make me play with them, and they're going to take me into quests that are very long, most players hate, that are very mean to people, and they're going to make me die in horribly ways. And they're going to do this for fun and their enjoyment. So they're mean people.
Mm-hmm.
For the record.
All right.
But yeah, so looks like I'll be joining the damsels on the Wolflock every now and again, and they're going to make me do quests like the pit probably, and then I'll tell them no. Oh look, my internet just failed. Sorry. Oh yeah. Look at this random power outage I'm having. Oh, that's too bad. So yeah, then the only other thing I did is I did some more DM prep for the Suits of the Mist D&D adventure I'm going to run for my friend and his kids, which sounds like we're going to start that this Saturday, actually.
All right.
So that will be fun. And then I did some DM prep for the Death House, because we are having another game night with all of my friends who I'm trying to kill in the Death House. And if I don't kill them in the Death House, I'm going to have Strahd kill them to get his revenge because of the nasty things that they did to Strahd last time. We'll see. And that's going to be over Labor Day weekend. We're going to have our game day. So,
so you're going to have it while the theaters are showing?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, that PAX West thing starts at 8 p.m. Sunday night. So,
okay.
So we're going to do our game day on Saturday. So.
All right.
So it'll all work out if I decide to go. So yeah. So that's really all I did, like I said, other than what I did with you. So what were we up to, and how's your Warlock experiment going?
All right. We will then head into what we did together, and we went to Tangleroot Gorge, where we ran Doom of the Witch Doctor and Zulkosh Herald of Woe, The Last Move, The Way to Yarkuk, then Yarkuk's Last Stand, and then at the end of all this, we gained our reputation level with House Philarin. Then on my Warlock experiment, on my Warforged, which is having a rather terrible time, probably the worst time of any of my Warlocks.
That's what you said.
Yes, Warlocks and Warforged, just not the most, it's hard for me to believe that the trainer in the marketplace is a Warforged. It's like, it sounded incongruous, and while I'm playing it, it sounds even more incongruous.
Which, and I cannot believe as many times as I've talked to that trainer, I've never paid attention that it was a Warforged until you said that last week.
Yeah. Like, yeah, okay, hello. Oh, yeah, you look like Warforged. Yes. Anyway, I, of course, reattempted Temple of Elemental Evil Part 1, and the highlight of this particular run was one time where my cleric Spider, who cleric summoned a spider, and my cleric spider was fighting a pair of gargoyles through 2 doors. I mean, I've seen enough NPCs fighting opponents that are on the other side of a door. You see that all the time. But 2 doors?
Your cleric was just out for blood.
Apparently so. And I was halfway through the boss fight when I suddenly realized that I was in weapon stance, but I was taking my position for blast stance. So, of course, I wasn't hitting anyone. I was not hitting anyone.
I was about to say, how'd that work out for you?
Well, when I said halfway through the fight, you gotta remember is that it was a very short fight.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because I didn't survive very well as a result of that. So, of course, this means that I believe my Warforged has now become definitely the first one to lose that fight twice. I can't remember if any of the other ones in this series had actually lost that fight, but this is definitely the first one to lose it twice. And still not ready to go because next week's the last one, and this is going to be the first one not even to make it into part 2.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because next week's the last week of this race,
yeah.
and I haven't finished part 1 yet. So, and in light of the above, yeah, I died. So now how about my Wolflock, who is currently at Druid 2, Warlock 2, and I was running the Sharn Syndicate, the Storm Reaper Fresco, the Bookbender Rescue, and Repossession. And in the Bookbender Rescue, I had an easier time relative to many of the others because my Druid, because I'm playing a Druid, I decided to have a strength of 16. I think I might have had a little help from that. I think my strength is 15, but I had a magic item which brings it to 16. Then I cast Ram's Might. And Bookbender Rescue is really easy when you're in wolf form, banging those doors down with an 18 strength.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be.
So it was one of the easier times I've had with that particular quest, except maybe with an artificer or burglar who could just pick the lock and then storm their way in there. So that, I think, went pretty well. And then in Minecraft, you remember how last week I said that for the first time I created a cave spider farm so I could farm them for string?
Yes.
Well, I was playing in my single player world, and apparently the spiders decided to have revenge because I found a cave spider spawner there, and I wound up getting trapped by all the webbing around the cave spider spawner, and then skeletons were coming out and attack. Oh boy, it was really horrible. So therefore they had the revenge and I got killed and I lost all the stuff I had at the time. So therefore that demonstrates that you gotta be careful of those cave spiders. They may be seeking revenge later. I did go in again later on to see if I could conquer that. In fact, I actually conquered the side passage from where the skeletons were coming in, so at least I wouldn't be flanked on there. And I tried to see if I could get there. I could not conquer that spawner yet. But while I was doing so, I discovered something that really terrified me. I saw that this was not a cave spider spawner. It was part of a double cave spider spawner, and they were both sending cave spiders against me. I said, oh, good grief. How am I going to get by both of them? It's like, this was an evil, but if I manage to conquer this, I am going to have such a great string farm. It's ridiculous.
It's all about that string, finally.
Actually, I might have to make it an XP grinder so that I can get some spider eyes also, because the kind of farm I did last week, you don't get any spider eyes for. So I might set this up so I can get spider eyes from it, in addition to string. And what else happened? Oh, yes. For the first time in my multiplayer world, I did something I hadn't done before, and that is I've managed to acquire full diamond armor. And in case you want, that is the highest level of... Don't ask me how you make armor out of diamonds.
That was going to be my next question, but okay.
But Minecraft you somehow have. But the highest tier of armor is diamond.
See, now, okay, I have a question about this whole Minecraft thing.
Okay.
You're the same person that wouldn't play Guild Wars 2 because you couldn't logically work out how you had a gun that shooted nets. But yet, You're wearing a suit of diamond armor and you're okay with it.
I don't know. It's weird.
Okay. Just trying to work that out.
It's just the weird things that bug you and the things that don't.
I guess.
Yes, I guess so. But anyway, yes, so I'm wearing full diamond armor now and slowly trying to see if I can get some good enchantments on it. We'll see how well that works. We currently have 28 supporters on Patreon, and if you would like to help support DDO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us here on an episode of DDO Players News. By supporting us on Patreon, you will help to upgrade our cameras so that we can bring you better convention and tabletop play and review coverage. As for our iTunes reviews, we do not have any, but we would love to have some. And we have no featured comments, but we do have an email from Deadlock Kijon. And what did they say?
And I will tell you that in a second. Knife Pawn in the chat is saying there is different rules for different games. You don't have the suspension of disbelief in Minecraft because it's already out the window.
It's already out the window.
He has a point from what I've seen of Minecraft. I've never played it, but yeah. I can see why there's no suspension of disbelief at all in that game. So anyway, yes, Deadlock and Quijon. Of course, you might recognize that name as he is the person that put together the Stormreach campaign.
He's at it again, huh?
Yeah, he's at it again. He sent me a message over on the forums, and he says, random message just to say, hola. I've taken a couple of fairly huge products at work, so I've been pretty busy for the past while, but been catching up with DDO Players, a webcast, while setting in various hotels around Europe. Side note, how cool is that? We're being played in Europe. That's awesome. Back to what he says. On the DDO front, the Monday Marauders have TR'd and are back to level 8 at the moment. On Galanda, a couple of Marauders had to drop out for personal work/life reasons, so we've 2 spare spots on Galanda starting at 7 p.m. UK time on Monday nights. I'll just spell it out because I'm not going to pretend to know how. Sure, it's
well, it looks like it's in German. So
yeah, it's OLGEIRDOTTIR for an invite. Smiley face. We're running the Stormreach campaign and recording the extra XP from the Monster Manual volumes added since the hardback edition was printed. I'll update the PDF download when we're done and hopefully have some time to write up some more on the Stormreach campaign blog when time allows. But enough about us Galandalites. For the record, Steve Jackson and Ian Livingston are absolute legends. I was in my early teens when those came out and turned a whole generation into fantasy RPGs. Any accusations that I would keep my finger in the page I was on before checking out the results of my decisions will be vigorously defended. I agree, sir. I think we all did that in the Choose Your Own Adventure games. These guys were up there with Dave Morrison and Oliver Johnson, who came out with the game Dragon Warriors, and he linked the Wikipedia for that, and I read that Wikipedia, and I completely forgot about Dragon Warriors. And that was another British cheapest fantasy RPG system, which was his introduction to the Redbox D&D game. Looking forward to your 100th episode. Keep up the great work, man, and say howdy to Pine Leaf. Cheers, Deadlock Quijon.
You put your finger on the page before checking the results?
Yeah, what you would do, because did you never play like those Choose Your Own Adventure games?
Well, I played enough solo modules, including those from Tunnels and Trolls.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
You know, and I played a couple, and I did play the first of the Sorcery series.
Yeah, it was like you would, like choose something and then you would like keep your place so you know what page you were on. Right. And then you just peek and see if it's going to turn out well for you. If not, you'd go back to your previous page and make a different decision. Not that I ever did that, of course. And not that Quijon ever did that.
I'm pretty certain I didn't do it.
Well, of course not. That's not no.
Well, if you want to be like Deadlock and send us an email, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You could also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, DDO Players @DDO Players, Draculetta @Draculetta_72, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, and you could also join our Steam group. The Players Alliance has 5 live shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News. Every other Thursday at 9:30-ish p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locho Players News. Every other Saturday after Locho Players News, we have Tales of the Free Folk, and that is returning this weekend on the 27th. So, yes, it will be back for the next season. And on the last weekend of each month, for this month, that'll be Saturday on August 27th at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locho Academy After School. Note that the time is being shifty, probably for the foreseeable future until we lock down a new time due to changing of work schedules. You join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is it for tonight. This is Pine Leaf Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.